we set up those activities so that our children actually learn through play? So we've been talking on our series about how to create those learning environments so that our kids can play. We talk about what play is, and today we're talking about what learn is. So if you have been following along, let's get started. Hi, my name is Alexa. I am a sensory teacher and an advocate of play. I am obsessed with everything play, and today I'm going to teach you everything that I know about how kids actually play. So let's get started. So let's start with the child, because we need to make sure that we understand who we are working with, right? We are working with capable individuals who can make decisions, to trust their ability to make certain decisions. We have to trust that they are going to be doing some experiments and they are going to be having some learning opportunities through that. As human beings, we want to learn. It's engraved, we're biologically made to learn. So that's the first step. When your child is playing, when your child is doing something, he has that already engraved. You don't have to teach at them because they already want to learn. So children or anyone actually learns best with time. You have to give time for play in order for learn to happen. When you look at a child and you give them a learning opportunity, you have to understand that they learn with all of their five senses. There's, what are they seeing? What are they hearing? What are they smelling? What are they touching? If you look at it, it's a lot to take in. Like, we're so used to it, but if you put, if I put you in the middle of the moon, there's a lot to take in. Like, what is it that you're seeing? How do your feet feel when you're touching that sandy of the, I don't know, is it sand? In the middle of the moon, can you smell anything? Can you hear anything? Like, all of that information. And then you get the parent be like, hey, this is the moon, and here's a worksheet about the moon, and here we go. Like, whoa, chill out, woman. So you have to give them time to explore the materials, to feel the environment, to understand where they are. So that sometimes I see it in my classes. When they come in for the first time to my sensory classes, we have circle time. And there's a lot going on. Like, you have new kids that they've never seen before. There's toys around that they're playing with. There's musical instruments. There's music. There's Miss Alexa just dancing crazy in front of them and singing and following and telling them to crunch their little scarf. Like, whoa. It's a lot to take in. So you have to give them time. Another thing is they learn by repetition. How do you master anything? You really master it by repeating it. I'm learning to make bread, and I've been trying it over and over and over. I didn't make bread once, and then my husband said, okay, you made bread today, so you don't want to make bread anymore. Like, that's it. I want to make bread. I want to learn different ways. What if I put the salt first? What if I put more water? What happens if I dump my dough into olive oil and then I put cheese on it? Like, is that going to make like an amazing bread, or is that going to be like a disaster? Playing is the same thing, right? You're dumping a child into a sensory bin, and you made it, and it's Valentine's season, so you made little rice that's red and purple, and then you're like, okay, you play with it today. Off you go. Now I have to figure out something else to do. No. They need to repeat the activity plenty of times for them to really try new things and really get those learnings in. So never be afraid to repeat an activity more than once. I've been doing same activities over and over and over, and as the child does it again and again and again, first I do it for the whole week when it's at home. Like, we have the same sensory bin, and that's for the whole week, and he will try different things. And if you sit back and observe, you can actually see the learning right in front of your eyes. You don't have to teach them how to pour. You don't have to teach them how to use their tongues. Like, you can show them once and they can grab the concept, but if you sit back, you're really going to see that learning happening. So for play to be happening, there has to be that intrinsic motivation, right? They have to come from within. They want to learn that specific task. They want to explore those materials. So once that motivation is in, then you need to give them time, right? You need to give them time to play, time to explore, time to look at the materials different way and explore the materials. This is the time to explore. This is the time to make little experiments. They are little scientists, which that's going to lead them to wonder. I wonder if I pour the rice into the small cup, will it overflow? I wonder if I put cheese in my dough, will I make a cheese bread, right? It's that wonder. Once that wonder happening, then it's gonna create those questions. If I put it, is it going to overflow? Is it going to make cheese bread? Is it going to spill? Like those questions start happening. That's gonna lead to discovery, where they're gonna wanna try it, right? Let me try to put the cheese on the dough. I'm just gonna say my bread situation, but you can use it with anything, with paint, right? I wonder if I put all of this paint that is squeezed from my bottle, is it going to overflow? Well, they're going to discover that when they're gonna try it. So that's gonna lead them to test new ideas. So I'm going to test it. I'm going to squeeze that whole bottle of paint and I'm going to see what happens. I will never know what too much paint is unless I have tried it before and understand that if I squeeze the whole bottle, that's too much paint and now I can't see my paper, okay? That is going to lead to deep understanding. That's when those connections in the brain are going to happen, right? When they do those testing, when they do those experiments. So again, we have to give them time to play, to experiment, to repeat the activities so that they can go into that deep learning. And that, I'm gonna leave you that for now, because next week we're going to talk about how to step back and observe and identify what is it that we're seeing, all right? So I'll see you next time.